Hey everyone, welcome to That's Peculiar. I'm Nathan,
I'm Andra.
and I have a show today. Okay. So, fun fact for today is we survived the rapture.
Oh, we did?
So, all over TikTok for like the past week and a half, 2 weeks, many Christians have been like the raptures on Tuesday the 23rd. Actually, they say it's the 23rd or the 24th.
So we might not have survived yet?
Yeah, it could still happen, I guess. But as of right now, we're still on Earth, so I guess we're doomed.
Surviving. So where is that coming from? Do you know? TikTok?
I honestly have no idea where it originated from. All I know is that it's been all over TikTok and people have been perpetuating it through social media.
Is there a new cult?
But what I mean is that people have been preparing. Like they've been writing notes to the people who are left behind, like when someone moves into their house. So like you didn't get raptured, what to expect, like how to fix it, stuff like that. Yeah. But
you and I live in totally different algorithms because I have like a witchy side of people being like, we're about to have an eclipse and everything in your life is going through a change. So like, yes to the Christians, but maybe it's not a rapture. Maybe it's just
there is a transition into planets are moving into Aries. No, Aries. It's transitioning into a new astrological sign. Is it Virgo? I don't remember. Someone was talking about it. But the point is, people are always trying to come up with when the rapture is going to happen. But the Bible itself actually states no one will know the day or time. Not even Jesus knows. Only God the Father knows when the rapture would happen. So anyway, fun fact.
Well, I'm glad I survived.
Or that you're still here, I should say.
Yeah. Or
do you want?
Yeah, you're right.
Do you want to? I mean, I guess the rapture technically means you go to heaven. So I guess we didn't pass. We're not up to snuff, I guess, to go to heaven.
Oh. If the shoe doesn't fit, wear different shoes.
All right. So today, when you think about mummies, what do you think of?
Brendan Fraser.
You think you think of Brendan Fraser from the great 90s movie The Mummy.
Yes. And the handsome, dark-eyed guy.
I did have a sexual awakening with Imhotep.
Good.
I was like,
Good
why do I like this? He's so mean.
And very handsome.
Very attractive. But watching it now, I don't know if I feel the same. No, I do. I feel the same.
Can never not.
Okay. Yeah.
I did see him with hair once. Isn't he the Titanic dude?
God, I hope
the
not.
one she's originally engaged to?
No, I don't think so. No. No. No.
I'm gonna Google it. You keep going.
Go ahead. Yeah. So yes, correct. So when we think of mummies, a lot of times we think of Egypt, like the golden sarcophagi, wrapped linen, the Valley of the Kings. But mummification is not just confined to the ancient tombs along the Nile, but across the world and across time, many cultures have sought to preserve the dead, and sometimes by design, but sometimes by accident.
Mm-hmm.
So remains of these bodies, they definitely defy decay. It's flesh that lingers for centuries, faces that seem to sleep instead of rot, monks who sat in meditation and never got up, children frozen in sacrifice to the gods, and corpses turned into symbols of power.
Mm-hmm.
So these stories, it's weird because it's not just about how we die, but it's also about how desperately humans try to resist death. Even we talked about the rapture, it's all about that want to keep going, because if let's say there's nothing after this,
yeah,
that's it. people can't sit with that. They can't accept nothing.
I think it's a little depressing sounding, like,
Yeah,
it's just
to think
over.
to think that just it's over and there's nothing else and that's it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I get that. So tonight we're going to travel across the continents and centuries and see how people, nature, and even politics conspired to make the dead endure.
not the same man.
I knew it. All right,
He's
so
even handsome old.
oh
Keep going.
my god. So in northern Japan, in the mountains of Yamagata Prefecture, rise the mountains of The mountains of Yamagata Prefecture rise, then they're cold and silent, their peaks often wrapped in mist. And for centuries, these mountains have been sacred ground for Buddhist ascetics.
Mhm.
Here, monks practice the most extreme devotion imaginable, and they turn themselves into mummies. So this practice is called Sokushinbutsu. Sokushinbutsu. Butsu? Sokushinbutsu. My
I
turn.
love this for you.
And so what that means is it means becoming Buddha in this body. So
Oh,
it began as part of esoteric Shingon Buddhism, which emphasizes ritual and the possibility of enlightenment, not just through meditation, but through the physical body itself. The monks
right.
the monks believed that through absolute self-denial, they could transcend life and death, leaving behind not just teachings, but a sacred body.
Absolute self-denial? What
Absolute
does that
self-denial.
entail?
So, what it happens is it's actually really brutal. So, for 1,000 days, which is nearly 3 years, the monk would follow the Mokujikigyo. Mhm.
I
Yeah.
don't think that's it, but they
Mokujiki.
follow a practice
They
of
follow it's called the tree eating diet.
oh,
So there's no meat, there's no grains, no rice. It's only nuts, roots, and herbs gathered from that mountain, and every pound of fat and every bit of muscle is slowly burned away by the body.
that is starvation.
Mm. Yes, but they're still eating, so I don't here we go. So after years, the diet became even harsher. Bark stripped from pine trees, bitter needles, and resin. These were not only symbols of renunciation. They worked as a slow poison. The resin infused the monk's body with chemicals that repelled insects and slowed the growth of bacteria. So in a way, they were kind of embalming themselves while they were
Right.
alive.
Yeah, that's how it sounds, but that's
Mhm.
insane.
Yeah, so when the monk is ready, he would descend into the ground. A stone chamber was built just large enough for his body, sitting cross-legged in meditation. A small bamboo reed supplied air, and inside he held a bell. Each day he rang it to signal if he was still alive, and above the monks would listen, and one day the bell would stop.
This is so they don't eat, they don't drink?
No, they eat the tree, the diet of eating the tree.
But what about when they're in the hole?
They're not eating. That's when they're ready, and they just ring the bell
So you're
daily.
telling me they are just like, "Okay, time to die."
No, it's time to transcend and leave their body behind.
That the willpower that takes to not try and claw yourself out of there is just
I think that's part of why it's such a big practice is it's really proving that self-control and that, what is it? Buddhism, it says exist no, that's not Buddhism. Is it Buddhism? I don't think so. But it's that extreme form of denial and that willpower. But yeah.
that's
So
crazy.
out of hundreds of who attempted this path, only a few dozen actually succeeded. Today about
Hundreds have attempted?
yes.
How far do they get?
I don't know how far they get. That one was not. But
Oh my
about
god.
About 18 of the Sokushinbutsu remain, and they sit in temples in northern Japan. Robes are draped over their thin frames, and their skin dark and tight over their bones. Visitors bow before them as if they still breathe. It's unsettling and awe-inspiring because there are men who turned their bodies into relics and whose very existence was meant to inspire others. But it also reveals how deeply human we are and the belief that death can be resisted, and that discipline and devotion can conquer even decay.
This is just insane to me.
Yeah, isn't that
And
crazy?
I love certain ideas of Buddhism. I've never even ventured into this before.
Oh, you don't wanna self-mummify?
No.
I Me neither. So now we're going to Palermo, Sicily in 1920. The world
Sicily?
Sicily.
Okay.
The world is emerging from the devastation of the First World War, and Europe is staggering through the Spanish flu pandemic. In the midst of this, a young father, Mario Lombardo, loses his 2-year-old daughter, Rosalia, to
Mm.
pneumonia. Heartbroken, Mario turned to a local embalmer, Alfredo Salafia, and Salafia had been experimenting with new preservation methods, blending chemistry with artistry. He did not remove Rosalia's organs, and instead he injected her body with a special mixture: formalin to kill bacteria, alcohol to dry the tissue, and glycerin to keep the skin supple, salicylic acid to prevent mold, and zinc salts to give her flesh rigidity. He finished with the paraffin dissolved in ether to protect her face.
So essentially, resin.
Essentially. So the result was astonishing, and Rosalia did not look like a mummy, but she looked alive. Her cheeks were full, her lips were soft, her eyelashes rested delicately against her skin, and she just looked like a child asleep.
Aw.
Placed in a small glass coffin in the Capuchin catacombs of Palermo, Rosalia became known as Sleeping Beauty. To
Aw.
this day, more than a century later, she remains nearly unchanged. CT scans have shown that her organs are in fact still intact and her skin has not shriveled. Visitors are transfixed looking down at her tiny form. They often forget that they are looking at a dead person. At times, people swore they saw her eyelids move, and time lapse photography once seemed to show them fluttering open. But scientists explain it is an optical illusion caused by changing light, but it's still an uncanny effect.
That is crazy.
So unlike the monks of Japan, Rosalia was not trying to transcend death, but her preservation was not a ritual sacrifice, but an act of grief. It was a
Mhm.
father who could not let his daughter go, and so through chemistry and devotion, he held her frozen in time.
That is just so insane that a person came up with that.
Hmm.
Just wait until, people that love Botox get a hold of that remedy.
I don't think you can rub it on or inject it in like that. I think for the best way for it to work would be you'd have to be not alive.
Mm. So he basically taxidermied his daughter, but
Pretty much.
nicely.
But, for her organs to be intact, so, like, whatever that guy did was excellent work.
That is just insane.
Yeah. Alright, now we're moving into England, and this mummy is not grief or faith, but of philosophy. This is Jeremy Bentham, who was one of Britain's greatest thinkers. He was born in 1748, and he devoted his life to reason and reform. His
Mhm,
philosophy was utilitarianism and argued that the best society was one that produced, quote, the greatest happiness of the greatest number, end quote.
mhm.
He was eccentric, brilliant, and determined to live his principles. When he died in 1832, Bentham left detailed instructions. His body was to be dissected for science. Afterward, it was to be preserved and displayed, not hidden away in the earth. He called it his auto icon. His skeleton was cleaned and dressed in his own clothes, and he was seated in a wooden chair, a walking stick placed at his side. There was a problem, though. Attempts to preserve his head failed. Instead of remaining lifelike, it turned black and shriveled with a grotesque, leathery face. So the decision was made to replace it with a wax head modeled to look like him when he was alive.
That's gross.
The real head was stored separately. At times, mischievous students stole it for pranks, but the body, the auto icon, remained. Today, Bentham's
Mischief what
mischievous.
mischievous students stole it for could you fucking sorry, excuse my language, but could you imagine, how people do with, like, the cosmetology doll heads and how they, like, put it in freezers and stuff? Could
I
you
just,
imagine?
my thing is, why was his head so easily accessible?
Why has he not haunted the crap out of somebody?
That part. So today, Bentham's still sits at University College London in a glass cabinet. His presence is more than a curiosity. Occasionally, he is wheeled into university meetings. The official minutes record, quote, Jeremy Bentham, present but not voting, end quote. Bentham's preservation is a philosophical statement. To him, death was not an end, and burial was wasteful. By keeping his body visible, he believed that he could continue to serve society as both symbol and inspiration.
Mm.
It may seem eccentric and even absurd, but Bentham, in his own way, achieved what he wanted to be remembered, not as a fading name in a book, but as a body, still seated among the living.
You know what's crazy?
What's crazy?
Never heard of him before.
Me neither, until I was like trying to find a bunch of different mummy stories.
Wow. Did he succeed then?
Huh? Did he succeed?
Did he?
Well, he's in London. We're not up on London history.
No, we're not. That is
No.
correct.
So now we're gonna go high in the Andes, which is about 5 centuries ago. The
Mm.
Inca ruled one of the largest empires in the world. And to them, the mountains were not just geography, they were sacred beings, living gods called apus. To honor these gods, the Inca practiced capococha, the ritual of sacrificing children. The children were carefully chosen, often from noble families, considered pure and without blemish. They were prepared months in advance, given fine clothing, food, and cocoa leaves. Their sacrifices were considered a great honor, ensuring prosperity for their people
Why children?
because they were
Or I know because 'cause they're
pure and
pure,
unblemished.
but
They're
that's so
innocent.
sad.
It's about the innocence for sacrifices. That's why a lot of the times it's virgins too.
Could you imagine, though? Just being like, "I was born to die."
I couldn't.
It just reminded me of the Sisters. What is that? Jodi Picoult book. My Sister's Keeper.
Oh, I haven't read that.
It's good, you should.
In 1999, near the summit of Mount Lulailacao, Lulaila, Mount Lulailaco.
You naturally say things with almost like a Hawaiian accent.
Well, I mean, Lulailaco.
How's it spelled?
Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Lulailaco.
Maybe the L's are silent, so
Or it could be the Y sound, the Yuyayako.
yeah.
It's in Chile.
Yeah, that sounds kinda
It's a it's
you Yayako? I
no,
like that.
Yuyayako, maybe? Mount
Yeah, and you
Yuyayako?
said this is in the
It's the Chile-Argentina border.
yeah,
Chile.
probably.
We'll go with that.
Chile. 'Kay.
So in 1999, near that border, the summit of that border, archaeologists John Reinard and Costanza Cerruti uncovered 3 of these children. The altitude was over 22,000 feet, and the cold was relentless, and that's what had preserved the children almost
Mm,
perfectly.
right.
The oldest, a girl about 15 years old, became known as the Maiden. Her hair was braided, her lips pressed against cocoa leaves. Her skin and features were so lifelike she appeared only asleep. Beside her were two younger children, a boy who was about 7 and a girl who was about 6. Their fine
Mm.
textiles and ceremonial objects were remained with them.
God, I can't imagine having that weight of your sorry, I
I
just
feel
can't imagine
so
that,
just
you know?
the thing with that is I feel like culturally, when you are
It's
in that
different, yeah.
world, you accept that your child is chosen, and I think I don't know if they actually let the children know that they were going to be sacrificed or what, and I'm sure when you're, like, 5 or 6, like,
Yeah.
it's still a scary idea, but your family is telling you it's gonna be fine, you're gonna be okay, it's a great honor, you're helping your people. So that whole thing, I feel like it really would ease them
Yeah, you're right, it's just crazy
into
sounding.
in our view, it's very crazy, but in that culture, it's looked at as an honor. So, scientists studying the mummies, they did found a crazy amount of detail, like traces of their diet and evidence of stress in their hair, even the substance that they ingested to calm them before death.
Mm,
To the Inca, these children are not victims, but they were honored. They believed that the children lived on with the gods, but to modern eyes, the sight is haunting. Their innocence, their lifelike appearance, and their frozen expressions
mhm.
are all preserved by the cold as a testimony to a faith long vanished.
Babies.
Yeah. But not all mummies were meant to last. Some are the result of accident, violence, and nature. Across Ireland, Denmark, and northern Germany, peat bogs cover the land. These wetlands are acidic, cold, and starved of oxygen. In such conditions, bodies buried in them do not decay and instead they are preserved. Their
Mhm.
skin darkened and leathery, their organs are sometimes intact, and hair still clinging to their skulls.
Yeah.
In 1950, two brothers were cutting peat in Denmark and they found what they thought was a recent murder victim. A man lay curled in the ground, his face calm, his stubble visible, his eyelids shut as though asleep, and around his neck
Mhm.
was a rope. But he was not modern. He had lived in 400 BC, and this is the Toland man. Examinations revealed that he had been hanged, obviously with a rope around his neck. His last meal was porridge of grains and seeds. His body, his expression, his death had been preserved for over 2,000 years.
Right. I think I've actually heard this bog death
Yeah,
story.
because other bog bodies had been found with, like, slit throats, broken bones, crushed
All
skulls,
kinds of
all
stuff, and
kinds
they
of stuff.
find them and they think it's recent. It's
But it's
crazy.
and then it ends up not being. And archaeologists do believe that many were ritual sacrifices, which are, offerings to the gods to ensure fertility, prosperity, victory in
Mhm.
war. But unlike Rosalia or the monks, these people, they did not seek preservation. They died violently, but nature conspired to keep them. And now they stare back at us, witnesses to rituals and violences from a forgotten world.
Wow. I like that. Nature decided to keep them,
Yeah. I couldn't imagine being like, I'm gonna hide a body. And it's been hidden
and
for
then
so
it
like, they were hidden so well for so long, like, why are they being found 400 years, thousands of years later?
that's just crazy.
So crazy. So now we did talk about Rosalia, but we're also gonna talk about the Capuchin catacombs of Palermo deeper. So in the late
Mhm.
1500s, Capuchin monks discovered that the crypt beneath their monastery preserved bodies unusually well. So they began interring their own dead there. Over time, as the techniques developed, wealthy families requested the same. So bodies were embalmed, dried, or treated. They were dressed in robes, uniforms, or gowns. Families would visit, change their clothes, comb their hair, and treat them as part of the living household.
Oh my god.
The catacombs became a city of the dead, corridors lined
Right.
with thousands of bodies priests, nobles, children, common folk, some hanging from the walls, others sitting on benches. Some are skeletal, others are
Mhm.
eerily lifelike. Today, over 8,000 remain, and visitors walk among them feeling both reverence and unease. It is a confrontation with death that few cultures permit to see it, to touch it, to walk among it. The catacombs remind us that for centuries, Sicilians did not hide death, but they dressed it, displayed it, and they lived with it.
Right. Oh, this is so close to De las Muertas.
We are getting close to Dia
Very
de los
similar.
Muertos, yeah. So our last story is actually going to take us to Moscow in 1924. I can say this one. Vladimir Lenin, he was he was the leader of the Bolshevik Revolution. He was dead. His widow wanted him buried quietly, but the Soviet leadership saw an opportunity. Lenin could
Mhm,
not simply be buried, he had to remain eternal, a symbol of the revolution itself. Scientists were given the task of making him last forever. His
mhm.
autopsy, his autopsy,
His autopsy. We should just call all autopsies autopsies.
autopsy, his
Mhm,
autopsy had severed major arteries, making traditional embalming impossible. So
mhm.
Vladimir Vorobyev and Boris Zbarsky invented new methods. They injected chemicals directly into the tissues. They bathed the body in solutions of glycerin, formaldehyde, and potassium acetate. They replaced his eyes with artificial ones to prevent his face from collapsing. They treated his skin with paraffin to keep its colors, and over the years, parts of his body have been repaired, patched, or even replaced. Lenin's body is not
Replaced?
replaced.
With who?
Other parts. I don't know. Lenin's body is
Girl,
like
let's take off this
he's not a
penis.
Mr. Potato
10:15.
Head.
That's how it sounds.
Mm-mm. Lenin's body is not static, but it does require constant upkeep. Every year and a half, he is removed from his glass coffin and re-embalmed. Teams of scientists work in secrecy, maintaining him like a fragile machine.
Can you imagine people having that job?
No, thank
What's your
you.
job?
I re-embalm Lenin every year and a half.
No, thanks.
No, thank you. Since 1924, millions have filed past his body in Red Square. For the Soviet state, Lenin was not dead. He was a monument, a relic of a revolution, a body turned into propaganda. Even today, a century later, he lies there still. His body is no longer entirely his own. It is part flesh, part science, part symbol.
Hmm, that is so interesting. At least it was for to, like, keep a revolution alive, I guess,
I like the
but
like the memory of it.
why are they still doing it today then?
I don't understand. Like sometimes I wonder like but then again, we also have that, what is it called? I don't know if it's still around, but it's that one it tours and they have all those it's, like, called body the body exhibit where they have a bunch of, like, cadaver bodies, and you can see some of them are full form, some of them you see the musculature.
Yeah, I feel like I know what you're talking about,
So
kind of.
like, even today, we're
People
still
are just fascinated with that stuff.
yeah, and I feel like when you see something from a science standpoint, like, I would not mind being going to I think it's called the Body Expo, I wanna say. But I feel like going and seeing it's weird to think that this is an actual person and that, like but to see how a body works, like, this is what the muscle does, this is what the tendon does, and you can see it. It's fascinating and very intriguing to
Can you
people.
imagine?
Imagine
What are
what?
you doing this weekend? Going to the Body Expo.
I think it's in Las Vegas, I think it's been there for a long time.
I bet. Honestly, that checks out.
Yeah. That's
Anything weird is in Nevada.
so, yeah, I just it's interesting, we're like, "Oh, that's so weird they're keeping them," but here we are keeping other people's bodies basically mummified for science and seeing them for entertainment also.
Yeah, that's probably what it is, entertainment.
Kind of. I mean, it's in I don't know. It's a strange yeah. So
Yeah.
what are your that's all the stories I got for you.
Oh, honestly, I loved it. That was so fun.
It's fascinating to see how many different countries and times
In
mummification
different
happens.
styles, yeah.
Yeah, the crazy ones to me is still self-mummification by eating, like, plants.
Um, yeah, that is
Mm.
the absolute craziest thing that I could in for 3 years they do that, and then they're like, "Okay, time
Time
for
to
my
go.
toll and my bell."
Yeah,
That's just insanity to me, but yeah, that was super interesting, and
yeah.
I also like that it was different regions, not just, like, one mummy. Because to be honest, how deep could you actually go except for each case where they think it was a person what is that called? Bog the bog
Bog
cases?
cases? Yeah, the bog cases.
I think those we could dive into, but, like, mummifications, those are just so interesting. I love your style
I just love that it
of, like,
wasn't
this episode.
it's not just limited to it's really not just limited to Egypt, and it's fascinating that it's not just limited
Mhm.
to Egypt, and it's so weird that we put so much of mummification, we just think Egypt, which is not the case. So
Right.
yeah. So yeah,
Just
that's
like
that's
an
how I feel.
early episode, do you remember umbrellas started in Egypt?
Yeah, I remember talking about that, yeah.
Let's just bring that back. But yeah, it's so interesting, like, the things that we think we know about Egypt and then the things that we don't. Honestly, we could straight up do an episode about
But just Egypt.
Egypt. Probably
Yeah.
like a 5-parter.
Yeah, Egypt there's just so much, and they're still discovering
Mhm.
so much too, so. But yeah,
Yeah, it's crazy.
well,
Yay!
thank you everybody for joining us today on That's Peculiar, and tune in next week for another new episode. Bye.
See ya! Bye!
Thank you for joining us today on That's Peculiar. Please be sure to comment, share, and follow. See you next week with another new episode of That's Peculiar.